So guys, thanks for joining me today. I am out in the vegetable garden and I am taking a look at our potato bed. This was just one single 3-foot round fire pit raised bed. I think in my previous video I said it was 4 foot, but it's actually a 3-foot raised bed. And I wanted to see how many potatoes that we can get out of this. I companion planted them with a ring of onions around the outskirts of the bed, and I put 4 potato plants in the center. So we're going to take a look. I'm going to dig this whole thing up, and we're going to see exactly what we've got as far as potatoes go from a single 3-foot round raised bed. As you can see, the potatoes are looking kind of sad right now. This is kind of their lifespan. They sort of get to this point where they look either yellowed or they're kind of dying back, and that's pretty much when you want to go ahead and harvest them. So one of the great things about using a raised bed like this one here is I should be able to theoretically just lift up the whole raised bed and be able to access everything underneath it. So we're going to do that. I'm just going to move it and roll it out of the way. And then we'll probably reuse all the soil from this raised bed and pop it into a slightly different location. So I'm going to go around the outside of the raised bed and we're going to take a look at some of the onions. You can tell that they really did not do a whole lot. I think they got a lot of shade from the potatoes. So hopefully they at least protected the plants. These are edible, they're usable, they're not the greatest of onions, but maybe they'll still be tasty in their smaller size. So I'm not going to worry too much about those onions at the moment. Oh, here's a nicer one. They're small, but they would definitely be something good to use in the kitchen for some sort of dishes. I'll put those aside. We're mostly concerned about the potatoes. And what's nice about a raised bed where you can just pull it away is you end up being able to just access everything without having to use a shovel. And so we're just going to start peeling away at some of this dirt here. There's a pretty good looking Yukon Gold potato. We're going to centralize ourselves around the plants and see what we have here. Go on and pull this out. Got a small potato right there. Pretty good one right here. And we'll keep going deeper. We've got a couple others. Now these were made from grocery store potatoes. So they were starting to show some growth with roots and stuff, and we put them and planted them in here. So those are pretty nice looking. They're not giant potatoes. Every now and then you end up with a little small potato. Something like this I might just replant and see if we can get a good fall crop of potatoes. Check that one out. That's pretty good. And I'm not seeing any kind of rodent damage on these potatoes, which is nice. Really was hoping not to find anything like that. Another little small potato falling out. Uh-oh, got some sort of a caterpillar. Probably don't want that one in this garden bed. It's another good looking potato. Ooh, this one's good. That's nice. Oops, there we go. I'm getting some of these roots here. This is Johnson grass that's creeping in. Definitely not a potato. So here's a look at the potato harvest. We've got some pretty good sized ones there. That kind of looks like a submarine or something. But they are decent sized potatoes that did pretty well overall. This was from 4 little potatoes that were about this size, maybe slightly larger than that. Actually, they were probably more like this one right here. This one looks pretty okay. It's got a little divot in it. I'm not sure what that's about. But nothing, everything looks really good. This one here is starting to sprout again on that side. So that might be a good one to go ahead and replant for a fall potato harvest and just kind of keep things growing. So, but yeah, they're looking really good. I would have liked to get more out of them, but that could be due to the soil quality. I used a lot of mulch in the very bottom of it to just add its filler, and so it really didn't go into there. A little bit more compost would probably have really benefited these potatoes. So I'm going to reset and start some more potatoes for the fall. I'll take a few from that mix there that I just did, and maybe I'll put a few more potatoes in this than I did last time. I had about 4 in it. Maybe I should double that and try to get a bigger potato harvest out of this for fall. So for this go round, I'm going to do 8 potatoes that came directly from those other Yukon Gold potatoes. You see these are already started. Those have got little sprouts coming up on them. And they're pretty good size. These are bigger than what you'd typically do as a starter potato. And then we're going to throw these little guys in here and see what they do. So I got 4 of those little ones, and then I got a little bit larger, that kind of funky little hippopotamus looking potato right there. We'll see how they do. So, and what all I've done is I just moved everything from the other bed and I added some compost to it. So hopefully we've got a little bit better growing conditions, and we're going to have more potatoes because we've got more potatoes starting. I'm not going to worry about the onions this time. They really didn't do as well as I was hoping they would, mostly probably because they were shaded out around the edge by the potato plants themselves. So I think you need to add a little extra space when you're planting them together. Make sure that the onions are on the sunny side of whatever raised bed you've got going. That way they get lots of light and everything that they need. So I'm just going to go through and plant these down about 6 to 8 inches in the soil. And we'll go around the raised bed, do the same thing, and hopefully get a nice fall crop. And then as I mow the yard, I'm going to use the grass clippings to put on top and add some organic matter and mulch, and then continue the mounding process like you do with your typical potatoes, and hopefully we'll get a really great fall crop. And so here's our potatoes that I kind of pulled out that I thought were worth keeping and maybe using in the kitchen. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 potatoes, which all came from 4 little potatoes that were sprouted. Plus we ended up with 8 small potatoes that we could put in the raised bed again and allow them to grow for fall. Okay, so let's analyze what went right and what went wrong. Potato-wise, let's start with them. We got about 11 really good-looking potatoes. They're not giant potatoes, but they're not teeny tiny potatoes either. So they're definitely usable potatoes. So that's probably about 2 to 2.5 pounds of potatoes right there. Now we started with 4 little small ones that were just extra leftover ones that started sprouting from the kitchen. So we didn't really spend any extra money on creating those 11 potatoes. So that's all positive. When we talk about the onions here, the onions did not really produce really well. I bought them from onion sets. They were relatively cheap, but one of the purposes was to help with the companion planting wise to prevent deer, prevent voles from getting into the potatoes. And you know, since we didn't have any blemishes on the potatoes, they look really good. I don't think anything bothered them. The deer didn't seem to come anywhere near this bed. We did erect kind of a jury-rig fence around the garden, but the deer are still actually getting into the garden, which is very frustrating. We'll have to get our actual fence up as soon as we can here. But as far as these go, the experiment was, I would call it a partial success. The potatoes worked well. I do think I needed to plant more potatoes in this raised bed to get more out of it. I think I probably needed more organic matter to be topping. I was using pine straw. You can see some of it right here because we've got a load of leaves and stuff that was brought in the fall. And the pine straw does not break down very well. It takes a very long time for it to physically break down. And so something that breaks down quicker, that would add more organic matter to the soil, probably would have been a better option. With this bed, I'm going to add some grass clippings to it, some leaves, and just kind of stagger plant that, sort of a lasagna garden technique to help this fill up. I planted the potatoes about 6 inches down here now, and you can see there's definitely some room up here, so I can start to fill this up with more of that organic matter as they grow. And it'll break down pretty quickly, feed the soil, feed the potatoes, and hopefully our fall crop will be even better. Now we're starting with 8 potatoes in this bed for the fall crop, and we'll just have to see how that does, what kind of improvements it makes, and what do we get out of it. So I'm Dave with Growing the Home Garden. I really appreciate you watching this video. If you would, hit the like button and subscribe, and we'll catch you next time here on Growing the Home Garden.